That's what I'm talking about. Like, what the fuck?
Why did you feel the need to share this with us?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Unsolicited Opinions podcast. I am your host, of course, the Meerkat Monarch. The voices in the background that you heard were my co-host, Artivous Ira, who apparently didn't catch me wanting to start the show, and Shrek, our guest.
I don't care, Jed.
I know you don't care. I know you don't care.
You know, disclaimer, we don't actually exist.
Yeah.
He's just schizophrenic.
Yeah. It's all my different personalities. That's and another aspect of it.
How racist is it that one of the personalities is black? What the fuck?
Hey, you're my tough guy. You're my tough guy. You're the one that... And actually,
why is the tough guy black?
Because
I just like the fact that I'm literally living
in stereotypes. Yeah. And of course, our other buddy.
And you're going to have to explain why one of those personalities is a furry.
Yeah, that's gonna take some explaining. Our very good friend, the unicorn, Roy.
A furry, a gay German, and a guy who literally calls himself evil. Man, you need a fucking psychiatrist.
Hey, I don't need a psychiatrist. I watch Jordan B. Peterson's lectures live all the time. So,
oh god,
I don't need help. Anyways, and of course, our boss, the laughing maniacal genius in the background, Dr. Evil.
Whoa.
How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Other than,
the week's been
you know,
pretty hilarious.
Yeah. It's been
the world has actually been a good week.
Yeah. It's been a week that has given a few.
Other than the hurricane. I mean,
yeah.
There was that.
And just 3 days from now, Danger Mouse is back.
What?
Yeah.
The new animated Danger Mouse series is back.
Wait, what?
3 days. Yeah, Danger Mouse.
Where?
Why would you tell me that?
Why have I not heard about this?
Yeah, why have I not heard about it? And why?
Why would you do that? Why would you revamp such a glorious animated show?
They seem to be doing the right thing with it.
Well, that is actually. Let's start there. Let's talk about Hollywood laziness and lazy writing, because we should start with that, because it's been.
Because Jan wants to bitch about it.
No, I'm not going to bitch about it. I'm actually going to laugh about it because it's actually killing off Hollywood, and I'm actually loving it. So
there's two things going on here. You have shitty reboots, which has been going on for a while, and you have damn good reboots, which is a relatively new thing that's coming about.
Yeah, of course.
When you can catch a really good one, like you had, they finally did up Samurai Jack. That wasn't a reboot. That was a okay, not a reboot, but you know what I'm saying. They brought it back, and they did it right.
And they did it better than the original show.
Yeah, even My Little Pony, I know a lot of people are going to groan, but if you
oh my god,
the original stuff,
we get that you love My Little Pony. We get it.
These were trots and gallops above and beyond.
Oh god.
So Danger Mouse, I am hoping that they do Danger Mouse right.
It's BBC. It's the BBC that's doing it. So
you know what? You know what? I'm going to personally 3D print you a small trophy in the shape of a horse cock.
Thank you.
They're gonna do it live action, and the mole character is now a trans dwarf gay guy who's also a woman.
In a wheelchair.
So of course, I forgot.
So really, no change then.
Well.
Okay, the wheelchair would be new.
The wheelchair would be new. No, but it is something that I wanted to discuss, because last Monday, Game of Thrones season 7 ended, and it was
finally.
Yeah, it was the
so
season.
I can stop hearing people talk about Game of Thrones.
I know. It's hard for you. As a black guy, then there's no.
Don't you fucking go there. I'm sorry, but that show is basically okay. It's like it's any other political show. It's like House of Cards with dragons and swords. Like there's nothing new about it other than the incest. Like incest really hasn't been done on political shows, but it's becoming the new look at me, I'm a nerd. It's become the look at me, I'm a nerd thing because I like Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
just like Harry Potter was. All it did was take the Harry Potter crowd and add tits and incest. Like it's the exact same annoying group of people who are going to ruin the fandom by George R. R. Martin has already gone that route. And all he's going to do is say fucked up shit for the next 20 years, and his book still isn't going to be done in 20 years. It's that new crowd. It's that new crowd, and I don't give a shit about Game of Thrones anymore.
I get that. Because the last episode wasn't as badly written as the rest of the season. The rest of the season was horrendously badly written. It was a pain for me as someone who actually works in that field and tries to reach the top. This was something on the level that I used to write in my early 20s. Okay?
What did you expect? What did you expect? They don't have the books to go off anymore, so all of this is fucking fan fiction.
Yes. It becomes fan fiction. It becomes badly written fan fiction. There are pieces on Tumblr with more substantive...
Whoa, how dare you give a compliment to Tumblr?
No, but seriously...
No, you need to apologize for that. Never do that in my presence ever again.
No, but the thing is, the pussy dick discussion was what broke my back. Finally, when it came to that
pussy
season.
And dick broke your back.
Yeah, pussy and dick.
You're rather skinny, so.
No, but the idea that kind of discussion could be involved in a show that has that has sort of had its foundation in a type of language, and then all of a sudden, one of the main characters, who's never used this word, by the way, never, neither the dick or the pussy, all of a sudden they start using it in a sort of casual conversation. It was so, I mean, oh god, it's so bad that it's, and I realize that they. It's probably a filler.
Not finish sentences?
Yeah, I realize that it's probably a filler discussion, but that's also the problem with that season, was that it was incredibly rushed. It just everything.
The last season before was rushed as well.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're doing. Like, the fact that anybody gives a shit about this show's writing at this point. Titties, dragons, and incest. That's the only reason people watch this show.
Yeah.
That's it. Stop.
Hodor.
And Hodor died. My feelings for the show died with Hodor.
Yeah.
He was the only character I cared about.
Yeah, it's no longer the good show that it started out as being.
It's never been really a good show.
Dude, don't give me that, okay? It's been a good show.
I'm so sick of this shit. Alright, okay. The only reason people watched the show was tits, incest, and dragons. And it didn't have dragons, it just had the promise of dragons. And people started bitching that they didn't have dragons, that they just had tits and incest.
Yeah. And for a couple of seasons. Bitching about it.
Well, for one season.
Yeah.
What people complain about? No, there's no dragons in this show. Well, they'll be
dragons
there.
are coming. The dragons are on their way.
They don't give a shit about story. They don't give a shit about context. They don't give a shit about lore. They don't give a shit about stuff that writers actually give a shit about, Jay.
Yeah.
It's schlock. It's weekly schlock for people who don't want to use their brains. It has always been that.
Oh no, I agree. I think the books are far superior. I completely agree with that. I did enjoy the fact that fantasy was basically been taken a little bit more seriously as
you mean
a
like
topic.
Harry Potter?
No, not like Harry Potter.
Don't make me come over there.
Don't compare. Don't compare the two.
No,
you can't compare the two.
Okay, Jen. Yes, I can. You're saying that you're happy with the new Squirrel Girl getting a feature movie the way it is now. Like, just because people are interested in sci-fi doesn't mean it's the people who should be interested.
No.
in sci-fi.
I know. But
normies ruin everything.
No, they don't. That's a problem with the attitude.
Really? Do we have to sit down and watch Big Bang Theory together?
I'm not, dude. There's a difference between telling.
I went there.
No, there's a difference between telling good stories and corporatizing good stories. That's the difference. Okay, I don't have a problem with good books becoming popular or good movies becoming popular. I have a problem with corporatizations of genres so that you just become stereotypically and bland. If you think that's normie, then fine. But the problem is not the normies. The problem it lies deeper in Hollywood in general, because Hollywood has become a monolith, and therefore it no longer offers the possibility of creativity by the people working within them. That's why you keep seeing these.
Look at this IP that I just found. When I say go, get ready to throw.
Jan, submit it for evidence. People went to go see the third Transformers movie.
Yes. I'm not saying that it's not that the level of entertainment is not.
The difference between normies and actual fans of the source material.
Look, I have two.
The source material expect a fucking standard.
I'll give you two words that are going to end this discussion. Will Wheaton.
That just ends any discussion. That's
not even relevant for this discussion.
He was just trying to end the conversation, and generally Will Wheaton will do that.
Yeah, that is true.
Because he'll block somebody.
No, but it goes to what I mean by the fact that it becomes a monolith. The structure becomes too big. The Hollywood structure is too big for original ideas to blossom and grow, and that is a huge problem for Hollywood.
Part of the show where we reach Jan's Hollywood is shit rant.
No, I'm not going to rant about it because I'm not going to give you. No, you've been ranting
every show now. You do this every show now. You complain that Hollywood is stale and doesn't want to take chances ever, and it's like, dude, why do you still have hope? Like, why does it even still upset you to some degree? I know, Jen, you're a writer and you're a good writer, but fuck, man. Transformers movies.
You two are like Bart and Homer Simpson about this. Bart's the one who will complain about everything, and Homer's the one who says, just give up.
No, the difference is I complain about it and then I do something about it because I'm actually trying to change it.
So basically, you're saying you're Lisa.
Oh God.
Yeah, I am Lisa. Okay, fine. I'm Lisa.
You're Lisa Simpson.
So when you're gonna just stop coming on stop being.
But that's the thing. It turned Lisa into a freaking hipster that jumps on anything that's new and interesting.
That is. Well, they did that over time. What is it?
And suddenly he walks right into it. Oh, man.
No, it's just... Alright. The reason certain groups rally around certain material and make it theirs is that generally they found something that fits them and they love it the way it is. But generally, when that shit goes mainstream, and once corporations get their hands on it, it gets fucked to all oblivion.
Hipster.
So basically, normies.
No, but no. That's
because they're not going to try and appeal.
I agree
to the fan base. They're not going to appeal to the fan base. They don't give a fuck about you.
No,
look,
you're not going to see Transformers 5. They're trying to appeal to random fucking people.
Look,
who otherwise wouldn't give a shit.
We live in a democracy, so everybody in favor of normies say aye.
Well, I am in favor of generally different people in general, because if I wanted everybody to be the same as me, I wouldn't manage to live in this world.
You're not a normie then.
No, I'm not.
Thank you, Roy. You said it before I did.
And
that's why they call me pointed commentary.
No, but
I thought that was because of your horn.
Yeah, that too. the thing is that the thing that you're right about when it comes to this is that yes, when corporations get a hold of an IP, they bastardize it. But the problem is the problem isn't necessarily that it's the normies' fault. It's more.
Or you're going to make me bring up Death Note.
Well, Death Note is a good example of Hollywood fucking up royally, and I realize that doesn't necessarily make sense to you guys, but it's not a Netflix produced movie. It's a movie that was shot by a production company, and then Netflix bought the rights for it.
You do realize that fucking up generally implies that you're getting something other than what you intended?
Oh yeah.
Let's also get to the point that Netflix. No, let me get this out real quick. Netflix does edgier stuff than most normies are used to because they have more freedom from the more mainstream market.
Yeah.
So that's why you get House of Cards, but it still tries to appeal to the mainstream to get more people in.
Yeah, Narcos is a good example. There's also a couple of the series in general. The fact that and I know that Rick and Morty may not be a good example because it's an Adult Swim. Cartoon, but or animated series.
Oh, and the normies love it now, so it's going to go to shit.
Yeah, that's
speaking of cartoons. Have you seen Gumball?
Yes, the SJW episode.
Oh, you mean Gumball?
Yes.
I have learned the skills of the social justice
Gumball.
warrior.
Yeah, that was fucking... Well, that show has always been, like, really, really cold. Like, that's the thing. That show, like, will sneak messages in like that all the fucking time to make fun of pretty much everybody.
This is like a hammer over the skull.
They're pretty blatant about it, but it's just like it's like they'll move on really, really quick from it to something else. They devoted an entire episode to making fun of this.
Sneaky was My Little Pony having a 2-parter season opener about communism.
Modern
cult-like social media behavior.
Yeah, but
it's funny that people are trying to get Gumball freaking taking off the air because they said something they didn't like. You've been. Dude, that's the thing. You've proved the point of the episode and the argument that the episode makes and the situation makes by trying to get the show off the air, and it's hilarious.
We need to bring the Boondocks back.
No, because when Army started liking it and corporations started taking control, Aaron Magruder pieced the fuck out.
Point made.
And there's the problem. It's not necessarily
Normies.
No. Let me finish before you jump on me. It's not necessarily the group's fault. It's the idea of the market strategy thing and the Gallup polls in general just controlling what we get to see. It's that's the.
So what you're saying is it's not Normie's fault. It's the corporate perception of Normie.
Yes. It's the same. Okay, a good example of this.
All
okay, right. is Shakespeare.
Oh my God, Jim.
No. let me finish. Let me finish.
You go.
The idea of Shakespeare was that his plays appealed both to the thinking man and to the common man. That was the idea of him writing his plays. It was
How
meant
many hundreds of years ago was that?
Well, it goes to the same principle. Okay,
Shakespeare.
I have a much more up to date version that has to do with Jim Sterling.
No, you can't use Jim Sterling.
I will, and I'll tell you why it's perfectly reasonable. Jim Sterling had an entire episode where he's bitching about coffee and saying that you have stuff that corporations come up with. What the fuck is the name of it? A focus group.
Yeah.
To say, okay, everybody here likes bold coffee, right? Oh yeah, we all love bold coffee. And so Jim is trying to talk about, oh, no. Everybody actually likes really milky, watered-down coffee, and he's being smug and all and shit about this. Yeah. And forgetting that the basic point of bold coffee is that it's the base. It's the base upon which you put milk and sugar and everything else into. He wanted to derail that whole concept into the idea that corporations misunderstand the purpose of a focus group by looking at the end product instead of the base.
I don't know. I prefer the Shakespeare analogy, if only because now I have a mental image of Macbeth going, "Ree!"
Like, Jan, do you honestly think that if Shakespeare was writing stuff now, his stuff wouldn't get bastardized?
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the stories in general appealed to common men and thinking men alike because it was written well. When it's a well-written thing that focuses on the individual and drama between individuals, you can actually make good things. It's not impossible.
It's written on multiple levels to appeal to multiple types of audiences, like Bugs Bunny and My Little Pony.
Yes, for instance.
Oh my God! The thing, I'm not arguing that it can't be done, Jan. I'm saying that it's nigh impossible.
No, it's not nigh impossible. We have done it before. We can do it again. It's not impossible.
No, okay.
I never said it was impossible. I said it was nigh impossible.
Yeah, okay. I get what you mean.
It's a question. It's a difference between laziness and putting in the effort.
Yes, and that is what
corporate controlled Hollywood.
Corporations are inherently lazy because easiest route to them is also most profitable route.
Yeah, well, most big structures are fucking lazy because they have become complacent. As a structure, it becomes
Jan's
complacent.
Trying to get a movie deal. That's what it is.
No. I've quit the movie business, so I'm not as interested in that anymore. I just want to write books and tell my stories. That's all that I want. But the thing is that when you have a structure that is built upon a corporate structure, and there's you need a creative side to it, you need to let the creative people take the major decisions within your structure, and they're not
when
at
it's
the
your
moment.
money. When it's your money being put up to make said project, then it will happen. But as long as Hollywood has to go and ask somebody else for money to do stuff, it's going to be watered down bullshit for normies. That's it.
No, that's the thing, is that I get what you mean, but I think we're disagreeing on a minor detail, and that is the definition of what the idea of corporate types, thinking
creative
of
hope
what
versus creative nihilism.
Yes,
you guys are just going round and round.
Yeah, and yes. I don't think
which is why I wanted to lightly go on this topic, but then go on to actual stuff that was lighthearted.
Yeah. Well,
speaking of it,
yeah. We could.
Cue for a segue. Segue.
No. We could talk about another person with lazy writing. Or lazy.
Jesus Christ, we gave you a perfect opportunity and you
Shrek's like, come on, dude. Jared could strike out in T-ball.
Excellent.
So anyway, Zoe Quinn's book leaked. And the reason this is of any importance... The only reason this is of any importance at all was because of how it leaked. You see,
because the con was a con, like we all predicted.
For shame! How dare you? The mighty ultimate survivor Zoe Quinn, who fought against the zombie horde of gamers, which is pretty much how the rest of her book sounds like verbatim.
Because people said mean things on the internet, apparently.
No, basically she didn't pay the people. Basically, she used a bunch of trans women to basically do jobs and weird things for her. And then they were like, well, she was like, well, I want you to edit my book for me too, without them getting paid, them being volunteers, while this woman had an open Patreon and was getting money in. Basically, she unpaid interned the fuck out of them. And so one of them was like, fuck it, I'm leaking your book, bitch. And so now everybody has her book, and it's fucking hilarious.
And it doesn't mention literally woo anywhere.
Yeah, that's the thing, is they hate each other, and so I knew that was going to be a thing. But whether Woo actually says something about it, I don't know. Because Woo knows that she still has Anita in her corner, and she may not want to have to fucking deal with that bullshit.
Well, Woo's go-to in this case is to simply accuse, literally, of being a, anti-trans. She's transphobe. Because she didn't mention the travails of trans women in gaming.
Honestly, I don't care what's in the book.
This is so fucking meta at this point.
Yeah, like the book itself is garbage, and her book was always going to be garbage. But it's good for the people who went through, GG to laugh at just how much of this is just utter and complete bullshit and lies, to the point where she honestly could get sued for libel by a couple of people.
Oh man, I'd love to see that. That'd be good.
That actually, she would have a technical defense on it because it's been leaked and she hasn't published it.
Well, she's actually published the book, so...
Oh, okay. Well, she actually did, then that's that.
Well, the book is out. It's just not selling and nobody gave a shit.
And anyone who was curious about what crap she put in there now doesn't have to pay any money for it.
Yeah, basically she was showing up places to give out the book for free because it's not selling that much.
I like how she presents herself, according to her own description, as a critically acclaimed game developer, but nobody can point to a game that she's ever had that was critically acclaimed. With the exception of one that had one article of positive publicity for it.
it's just funny to me that it kind of feels like the true end of Gigi. When this book has come out, nobody gives a fuck about her or her book. She's burned every bridge, being the narcissistic cunt that she's always been.
And she's been eclipsed by an even bigger narcissist.
Yeah. So all of it was for nothing. All of it. She would have been more successful if she would have said, hey, you know what? I fucked up. I've made some mistakes in my life. But I'm trying to turn my life around. She would have been way more successful.
When you play the game of narcissism, you win or you fade out and nobody gives a shit.
But generally, that's how people with borderline personality work.
And got
so far.
And in the end, it
literally doesn't matter.
Oh man, it's
a funny footnote, and I just wanted to bring it up quickly before we brought up some positive shit.
Technically, that's a positive anyway, just because of the hilarity.
And now, basically, the last people were her. You know, the people who were her personal stooges have turned on her. She's getting. She's just a regular member of Antifa. Speaking of which,
are you looking at what I'm looking at?
There's been some developments. For the most part, all right. We've complained about Antifa as a fucked up organization on this show multiple times. All right, and they finally, I'm starting to think that the last, little display they put on in Berkeley was a honeypot to see just how much evidence they could get against them. Because as people were pointing out, there were people in the crowds of Antifa with badges and radios that clearly were recording. And some of that footage
had people recording.
Yeah, and people... some of this footage is leaked and whatnot, and it clearly looks like, it's become a RICO case. Now, the reason this shit is important is that info probably got around that the FBI officially declares Antifa a terrorist organization. It means that they get to crack down and on pretty much anybody who says they're an Antifa supporter. That means every mainstream news channel, every comedian, anybody who says, I'm a member of Antifa. And
yeah. That means that they've got an open license to listen in on all their conversations. And if they're on the street, yeah, they can fuck this shit up.
It's become no surprise that suddenly some people who were pretty pro-Antifa, say about a week ago, suddenly are shying away and moving away from them in, major outlets. Washington Post, CNN, MSNBC Morning Joe actually did a segment on it.
The Daily Show.
The Daily Show. Trevor Noah. Here's the funny thing about the Trevor Noah thing. All right. I've always called Trevor Noah a fucking hypocrite because he came here from South Africa for more opportunity. But if he went back to South Africa now, they would fuck him up because he's half white. Because they hunt down white people in South Africa these days. So him bitching about racism here, this isn't the best place to live if you're black, is ridiculous. So they make a segment making fun of Antifa, calling them, what was it? The vegan version of ISIS?
Yes.
So actually, I'll give them credit for that. They called Antifa the vegan version of ISIS. So I'll give you that. That was funny. But it was funny to look at the reactions in the comments of the segment and on Twitter of people.
People unironically claiming that suddenly The Daily Show is fascist.
And calling Trevor Noah a Nazi.
Nazi sympathizer, the whole range.
Well, you know, all them people with brown skin are all well-known Nazis.
It was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. And now I just get to sit back and enjoy just all the hilariousness of it, of them turning on Nancy Pelosi, on Paul Ryan, who is a Republican, the Republican speaker, who had to, oh, wait, no, Antifa's a bad thing. No, wait, no, it's too late, motherfucker. You stupid, like, why did you even...
It was like watching a house of cards collapse.
Yeah, it's like,
it started with Antifa.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it started with reporters who wanted to have sympathy for Antifa because they got told by their outlets, and they go out there and it's like, oh, what, you know, there aren't any right wingers around here. Why are we getting attacked?
Yeah.
Oh shit! It's like because you're trying to film us, so we're going to hit your camera and then we're going to hit you. You mean all those stories that we were told of Antifa doing exactly that to people all this last year were true?
One of the first reports I saw of this Twitch was the reporters going, the Antifa people were attacking us and screaming that we should film the Nazis and not us.
But they couldn't find any?
Yeah.
What Nazis? The people we're beating up, that's not a Nazi. Oh, you're a Nazi.
And that's the thing. Okay, and there's a couple of things to that. You'll notice that the cameras and a lot of these instances, a lot of the video footage didn't come from the press.
No.
You'll notice that a lot of it might have come from those undercover feds and police officers that were just sprinkled in the crowd. Gee, I wonder why they put that footage up online for everybody to see.
This is the thing. When you're an extremist ideologue, the idea of trying to moderate your message becomes anathema.
Exactly.
So it's like, okay, we're out here to bash Nazis. Who's the Nazi? That guy over there because he's right of Mao. Well, this guy over here thinks that person's innocent. Well, that just makes them a Nazi sympathizer. Dude, they're the press.
What about the videos?
No.
Of them attacking each other for having the wrong haircut.
If we don't attack the press now because they've transgressed our mentality, then that would mean that we're wrong, and we can't admit that, so we've got to bash them.
It's this mentality of basically punching somebody and then trying to find out why he's a Nazi, so it's okay that you punched him.
No.
Now, here's the funny thing about this situation. The mayor of Berkeley, okay?
Oh, yeah.
He's a member of Antifa.
Well, of BAM specifically.
Yeah.
He's in with the by any means necessary crowd, which is even, I mean, those motherfuckers use some Scientology shit.
Yeah.
By any means necessary. Isn't that he ordered in actual Nazis?
He ordered the police to stand down. That's why you saw that video footage of people actually going to the parking lot and actually finding where all the fucking police were.
Mm-hmm.
As far away from it, and all the press that went there that covered the Berkeley, protest, then looked around and realized that the cops were gone.
Yeah, and they're like, oh shit.
They were there for a second, and then they vanished. Because they were ordered to stand down, they were ordered to go away and just let Antifa do whatever they want.
That's some straight-up David Copperfield shit right there.
And so now you have the situation...
The police force is gone.
Where they have no choice, but basically the media has no choice whatsoever to turn in on Antifa, or else you're either a terrorist or you're a terrorist sympathizer.
Well, here's the other thing, too, is that this is not the first time that reporters have been attacked. It's happened elsewhere. It happened at Charlottesville, but it was like one or well, the thing is, it happened once or twice, and the press always made excuses like, well, this is a one-off. But what they got
that's just an isolated incident.
You know, let's just ignore. Hold on. Let's just ignore the leaflets that were being handed out. Were directly threatening people who were filming violence.
Yeah. Yeah, they ignored all of that. But when they ran into what was very clearly organized, and you've got people directing, shut down that camera, get that guy, and all this other shit, they're kind of like, oh, this isn't a one-off because it's...
They're coming after you.
Yeah.
It's a lot different when you're on the ground surrounded by 50 men and you're a woman with a microphone. And you suddenly become the enemy. And that's what happened.
I'm one of you. I'm here for you. Shut up, fascist bitch.
Yeah, they don't. The liberals get the bullet too. That's not. That's not. They're not bullshitting with that. They want you destroyed too. They consider you a part of the establishment. Just because you're an idiot and are helping these fucking retards doesn't mean that they aren't going to turn on you in the end as soon as they feel they have the opportunity to.
So watching this House of Cards collapse in turn, though, it's like the street reporters then go back to their agencies, go like, no, we're fucked. The agencies flip around. You've got WAPO turn around and go like, oh, no, okay, Antifa's bad. Followed by the comedians. It's like, well, if WAPO says they're bad, we'd better say they're bad.
The question is, what
still bringing it up like it's some like big revelation, like they're the ones that are just figuring it out.
By the end of next week, they're going to say Trump is responsible for Antifa.
No, they've already said that.
What? You're way late. The real question is, what consequence will this have for one of the most critically acclaimed independent video game developers who openly admitted to being a medic of the Black Bloc?
Oh, God.
Did she actually say that?
Yes. Hold on, let me look that up for you right now.
See, and I thought she just had a crimply held up addiction.
Well, she did change her name to Antifa Lockhart. Jan, that's a segue.
I'm going to take this moment to sip some of Milo's famous sweet tea so I can put something in my mouth to then have a spit take with.
No, it's just it's this concept that this wasn't always going to happen from the beginning, because they were going to go crazier and crazier if you didn't, hammer down on them. And they honeypotted them. They've proven that these people are violent. They can openly arrest them now. And that's not going to make them stop because they've gained too much traction.
Well, look at what happened when they tried to do a protest in that place where they had the laws.
The left is evil.
You're not allowed to have a mask on.
Yeah,
and nothing happened because they were unmasked. Basically, if you see anyone walking down the street with a mask on, whether it's a black mask over their face or one of them pointy white ones, it's the same shit. They're up to no good, and that's why they've covered their faces up.
They're trying to start trouble in the neighborhood.
Yeah. And what's funny about this is you've already seen a shift in things, because Soros was shipping people in to stuff like Berkeley, and people paid protesters. Now those people are going to vanish. All right, because no paycheck is worth having terrorist on your resume for the rest of your life.
Yep.
And so the only people who are going to be left are the zealots, the ones that are the most violent.
Yep.
They're going to kill somebody soon.
Unfortunately,
probably in the next 3 months here.
Which we predicted.
And that's when you'll see the full crackdown. Basically, they're testing the waters now.
I'm surprised the crackdown didn't happen after people started getting their skulls bashed in with cyclones and metal bars.
Well,
guys, somebody already died. It's just that this was, an isolated incident.
Well, I'm talking about something big in public.
I dare say that it was pretty big and in public.
Which one? I got a couple.
The politician that got shot.
He didn't die.
He didn't die though.
He didn't die.
And by the way, the Nazi
is not for lack of trying.
Hold on,
not for lack of trying.
Hold on. So wait a second. He didn't die. So it's not that they're not trying to kill people. It's just that they suck at it.
They haven't succeeded yet, which will change in the next 3 months because now they've been backed into a corner. You see, the zealots work that way, and so now they're going to get even more extreme. They're going to get even more, retarded with the things they do. You saw what happened when they basically clashed with Black Lives Matter, where Black Lives Matter was telling them to leave because, hey, y'all motherfuckers are making us look bad, and asking the cops to go after Antifa.
Oh, that was great.
No, this happened. They asked the cops to go after Antifa. It's like, no, y'all go after them. They're the ones fucking up shit, not us.
By the way, if you hear an explosion in the background, that's my irony meter.
I know. So basically, now they can't piggyback on Black Lives Matter because Black Lives Matter just sees them as crazy fucking. Like I said, they see them as trust fund white kids acting the fuck out that aren't about the struggle.
And they did that for a bit. They were like, okay, if you're going to be a white person at our rallies, you need to be like the front line. And Antifa was like, yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah.
Didn't work out.
And then they realized that shit was going to come down on them. So you're going to see Black Lives Matter separate themselves. That whole clique is going to separate themselves because they don't want to be on that terrorist watch list.
No, not now that the police are getting serious about it.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think we're finally starting to see things settle out with the Trump administration and maybe even with the DOJ, especially with Trump just coming out with the bit regarding Comey's testimony.
Mm-hmm.
And not to segue too hard. Not to segue too hard over in that direction, but yeah, he did come out and say there were violent people on many sides. Everybody said, no, it's just the neo-Nazis, and now everybody has to agree with him.
And called him out by name. And yeah, now everybody has to agree with him again. And it's hilarious.
They hate that. They hate that, but they have to. They hate it, but they have to.
Yeah, and this is segueing in perfectly in time for the memos coming out where it turned out that Comey had already made up his mind before the investigation was done. So look to see more draining of the swamp and maybe finally some prosecution.
They won't get Hillary.
They
might get Washington Schultz.
Well, I don't know. It depends really on who's going to flip evidence on who.
Once they start flipping, it's going to go the way of a domino.
Oh, yeah. Because they don't have government protection like they had before. They'll be made an example out of them. Anybody. So it's just who flips first. And it's great. It's funny. I still think Trump's an asshole, but I'm loving the asshole effect.
I've always said the guy's an anvil, and I'm just watching him be dropped into the middle of all this shit.
He's a human hand grenade.
He's a Zaphod Beeblebrox.
Yes.
He's a lemon.
Oh, I said that months ago. He's pretty much completely useless himself, but he caused such a disruption that they have to change their shit. Yeah.
His mere presence forces good change, and it's maddening.
So basically a human salt mine.
Yes.
I think I have to start shipping Trump on the various salt containers.
And speaking of it causing salt and backfiring on liberals, let's talk about the hurricane, shall we? Now this was a tragedy. But hurricanes hit the Gulf all the time, and to the point where
No, don't you know that's a completely unprecedented
somewhat routine
natural
in terms
disaster?
of Texas. Yeah, it's not like it's not like New Orleans where they got blindsided and the levees broke and everything went to shit. Like Texas, like I was down there with about a decade ago when they were having really bad storms and a hurricane hit, and people were like, "Well, we have this plan and this plan." And like people were just like, "Oh, this shit's routine. We're good." You know, people were having
no. That can't be for real. I mean, seriously, don't you know this is clearly like it's like Mother Nature saw the U.S. pulling out of the Paris Agreement and decided to punish them.
God. Okay. Well, here's where this shit gets political. Their governor and like basically Trump told people to get out. All right, said get to safety. You know, responsible shit. Like duh. Because it looked like one of the biggest beasts they'd seen in a long time. And their governor told, I haven't said anything evacuate. No one's told them to evacuate. No, you stay where you are. And here's the funny thing about all this. They stayed. And this is Houston. The thing you need to know about Houston is Houston isn't the rest of Texas. There's always this thing where Texas is this big unit that votes and thinks all the same way. No. Texas is fucking huge, and Houston is a gigantic city. Gigantic. But it's a liberal city. It is a Democrat city that votes for Democrat and is mostly black. So when people were liberals, you know, over here and overseas, when they were cheering for the hurricane hitting Texas, they were cheering for a natural disaster for the most part hitting liberals and black people and Mexicans. That's who got hit by the storm. And so this concept that, you know, oh, this is what Texas deserved. Like Texans were looking around like, are you fucking kidding me? And they decided to help people anyway. And that's heartwarming, is seeing all that stuff.
There was a lot of people that just helped. They didn't care about who they voted for.
All the politics were dropped.
Like,
all the race bullshit was dropped. And they came together and they helped people. And because of that, a lot of good is being done down there. And it's going to be nowhere near as bad as it was in New Orleans, when New Orleans got hit with Katrina. They were ready for this, and Texans were ready for this. So I have to apologize for shitting on Houston and Texas for a very long time. I apologize because Texans, you fucking impressed me, greatly. And I think, and I think a lot of people around this country looked at this and looked what happened. And a lot of the political shit, like anybody who was trying to make this about politics looked like an asshole. Anybody.
Yep.
There
was plenty of those too.
Yeah.
Huh?
There was plenty of those assholes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there were those dicks like fucking Linda Sotomayor. You gotta love this cunt.
Linda Sarsour, yeah.
Yeah, Linda Sarsour. So I don't know what the fuck her fucking tellhead.
Her excuse now, yeah, that was great. It's like, hey, don't give money to the Red Cross. They're scum. Give it to my buddies and pals in these packs here.
And it was basically Acorn.
Yeah, but you know, Sean King.
And everybody got mad at her.
Thing, and no one got mad at Sean King because he's white. Just remember that.
Trying to raise up on her shoulders to make look like heroes and shit, and people are like, "Whoa, you need to calm the fuck down." And the feminists were like, I don't think we want you to really represent us, cause yeah." And so it's funny to see her like do some shit like this and get called on it and get called on for the scumbag she is. And you know there were going to be vultures like this, like Sean King's doing the fucking same thing, where he's asking for money. But nobody knows where it's going, which is generally means his pocket and that money vanishes, like it has before.
Isn't that the second time? Like, didn't he do the same shit with Haiti?
Oh no, yeah, he did it with Haiti. He's done it with Black Lives Matter. That's when he got called out by actual black people. You know, not people who give themselves pencil mustaches and call themselves black. Because he raised money for the family, and the money didn't go to that family. Even that was the point where even Black Lives Matter, like famous Black Lives Matter people, were like, "Yeah, where's the money, dude?" Like even with D-Ray was like, "Yeah, I can't co-sign on that." But these people, the scumbags, are going to come out and try and rip people off, and they're getting torn to shreds for once, and I like it. I love that the hurricane has brought out the humanity in people that I knew was there and brought our country a whole lot closer together. Like, it's a horrible, horrible tragedy, but I think we needed the reminder that these are still your people. These are still your countrymen. And so you're not going to say no to the guy with the Confederate flag on his boat if he's rescuing you from your flooded home.
You're not going to sit there and wave your finger at him and call him evil and say that he's everything wrong with the country.
Yeah, that shit didn't happen. They got in that fucking boat. And you know what? That dude wasn't that dude was picking up. Because there was that one guy, they were trying to shit on that guy who had a Confederate flag on his boat. But he had Mexicans and black people in that boat. And it was taking them to safety.
Yeah.
So maybe people should calm the fuck down.
It's almost like the flag has nothing to do with racism.
It really has no real meaning anymore.
No, it was just, it's basically, there's two flags in the US. There's the regular American flag that's for everyone, and then there's the Southern flag, which is for people who live in the South, which have a slightly different culture than people who live in the North.
It's the flag of, I don't like the flag, but I'm not going to get upset about somebody having it anymore.
Yeah,
and that was one of the really cool things to see about this was, nobody was calling the men sexist for saving women. Like, people were being respectful of the people who were coming to save them.
They were grateful that someone had turned up to help them. They didn't care what their political affiliation was. They're just like, oh man, I'm not going to drown.
And to be perfectly honest, I needed that. I needed to see some humanity, like really fucking bad, and I did. And so I'd personally like to thank every single person who went down there to help, whether they were, the Coast Guard or the military that went down there to help, or just people who were like, you know what, I've got a boat, I'm gonna go help people.
Did you see that one political cartoon that got yanked?
No.
There was a political cartoon that had the Coast Guard helicopter coming down, pulling a guy off a roof that had a sign that says "Secede now" and "Don't tread on any flag." It's like, angels here to help us. No, actually, we're from the government, and you're an asshole. And I'm sitting here going, like, right now, the only state that's talking about seceding is California.
Yeah. It was just like the Charlie Hebdo cartoon pissed people off.
And my statement on that
because
was the difference between Islam and Texans is Texans are not going to go to the Charlie Hebdo offices and shoot them up.
Well, it's not just that. Charlie Hebdo went, the social justice route out of fear. They don't do cartoons about Islam anymore.
It's like Charlottesville is not in Texas, assholes.
Yeah, and they put on this cover, for the people who don't know, they put the shit on the cover, where basically they basically have a bunch of people drowning with Nazi flags, and all you see is the arms sticking out of the water, and it's like, dude, like, Texas isn't one solitary unit. And what a way!
Not everyone that lives there are fucking Nazis.
And it's not known for its Nazi presence either.
It's not known for its Nazi presence either.
No. In fact,
they've never been popular in Texas, to be perfectly honest, and they've always been kind of. I can't say that about the Klan, but neo-Nazis, no.
It's essentially Charlie Hebdo saying that if you voted Trump because it's a big red state,
you deserve this
then you're Nazis.
You deserve to drown to death.
and it wasn't received well. And I'm glad. Like the hurricane, the stuff at Berkeley is starting to get the center to wake up that maybe we need to chill the fuck out. Maybe we need to start having conversations. And if it took a hurricane to do that, then
I'm going to give it about 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. 2 weeks before they start talking shit about every Texan again, as if they're, you know, the devil.
Well,
but
it's
at least
like
we get 2 weeks of it.
It was like after 9/11. 9/11, there was about a year or so where everybody talked in terms of bipartisanship and looking past differences and whatnot, and then it was back to George Bush's Satan and yada yada yada.
Yeah,
but you know,
wow.
For a small moment, for a small, you know, piece of history, our country was united again. And I think I needed that, even if it is for 2 weeks.
Same here. It's.
And it'd be nice if it didn't take a fucking tragedy for people to, you know, pull their heads out of their ass for 5 minutes occasionally.
Yeah. And so then there was one loot. There was a crew of looters who were running around in New Orleans. Because nobody had guns in New Orleans for the most part, so they were running around after the hurricane, looting everything. And they tried to start doing that in Houston, and you know, polls started outing them to the police and whatnot. And then you saw the signs immediately. You loot, we shoot. This is Texas, and the looting fucking stopped.
Hold on.
Someone's actually going to shoot me?
There's a great bit of a black guy with a shotgun outside of a store going, you know, screaming at some would-be looters, "I am ex-SWAT. I will shoot you." And they're like, "Oh, fuck."
Yeah, dude,
hold on. What amazed
Black guns matter, son.
What amazed me was that I actually saw people unironically claiming, like, there is no looting during a hurricane. These guys are insured anyways. And I'm like, are you fucking serious?
No, dude.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of black businesses in Houston.
Here's how you sort out who the looters are and who are people in need. If they're taking water and basic food, that's not looting. If they're taking big screen TVs and stereos, that is looting.
Well, that's the thing. Most businesses are giving out that water and food for fucking free right now.
Yes.
Like, they don't have to.
But if you're in dire need and you can't get it any other
Budweiser
way, I give you a pass.
Budweiser stopped canning beer so they could can water and pass that shit out.
And there was a guy that owned a big bed warehouse, and he was letting all the rescuers there sleep in the showroom.
There are a lot of black businesses. There are a lot of black businesses in Houston, and make no fucking mistake, they are armed and they will fill you full of fucking holes. They do not give a shit. Black lives won't matter if you come through their door and break something. They will shoot you.
Yep. And that'd be your bad, in my opinion. Like I said, the only ones I give a pass to is if you're going in like, look, we haven't had a drink for 3 days. I'm just taking some water.
And since it's September 1st, the law has finally been let go. It is now legal to carry large swords, katanas, machetes, and large knives in Texas at your side.
20% more polite.
So, not only are you going to have to deal with random gunfire, you might have a motherfucker screaming, "On guard, nigga," if you try and go through the front door.
Oh man, that is
because black people love katanas. So if you try and loot a motherfucker and you hear,
I can't wait to see this, like sword fight.
Face the Wrath of the Blind Nigga Samurai. Get out of my electronics shop, motherfucker! Like shit is gonna go down. Like, half of me was like, man, I kind of want to move back to Texas just so I can carry around my katana like it's no big fucking thing.
See, here's the thing. Somebody pulls a gun on you, you might be able to second guess yourself into believing the guy won't shoot. But if
the guy who pulls a machete is ready to go.
The guy who's got the bayonet on the end of the rifle is like, well, you know, he could get a little stabby with that thing, too. Oh, man, I think we lost Jen there.
Lost me for a second. But, like, could you imagine?
We're just being so fucking American over here right now.
No, that's the thing, because open carry is a thing in Texas. Like, people can carry around guns, and it's no big deal. A lot of people are armed in Texas, and it's just something you get used to. But like swords were outlawed, and like not even swords, like larger knives, like fucking
the classic Bowie knife.
Yeah, Bowie knives were illegal, and it's like, dude, like I'm carrying around a fucking shotgun. I have it in, on the vehicle, like in the window for everybody to see.
Right now, I have this mental image of this black comic store owner defending his shop with a battle-it.
That sounds fucking awesome. Because that was scary, motherfucker. Like, guns will do something, but if they come, like, could you imagine somebody coming through my front door? Like, and it's not just businesses, it's homes too. Could you imagine somebody coming through my front door and I'm in fucking Texas and I'm just standing there with my katana on my side and all you hear is the click of me unsheathing it just slightly so I could pull it out faster on them? You sure you want my TV that badly, buddy? You sure?
Welcome to the era of the six-string samurai.
Oh yes, I love that movie.
You can have the TV, but you're leaving your hands.
You can have the TV, but I'm taking a foot. You'll have to hop out on one foot.
Oh man.
I love my country sometimes. It's fucked up. But I honestly don't think there's anywhere else I'd want to live at this point, which is a weird thing for me to say.
Yep. What else are we gonna cover today? Because
there was a couple of other things, but Jan is probably watching that Jordan Peterson stream.
No, I'm being quiet.
Hey, he's alive.
Yep. But we might as well just end it now because
Did we go over every topic?
Yeah, we've covered everything.
I would like to announce that Graham Linehan, if those of you who may know him as Glinner on Twitter, is continuing to say, as of today, 1 September 2017, if you're not Antifa, what the hell are you? Anyone with any morality is all is Antifa.
Are you serious?
So, yeah, that is from just today. So some people have not yet gotten the memo. Expect to see a lot more entertainment of this sort in the next week or so.
I see, for the most part, I see American publications turning on Antifa. I don't see Europeans. They won't. They won't do it.
When the message comes from America, and you start seeing people getting fucked, yeah, a lot of them will change. It's just going to take them a couple of days.
They didn't do anything after the. They didn't do anything after that big riot in Germany where people were fucking in the streets while they were looting.
No, but you see, America is the big news hub.
No, what
if America says they're bad, the rest of them will follow suit.
What you're going to be seeing here is the hammer and anvil clash of differing circles of.
Not hammer and sickle.
Oh,
that's yeah.
No, comrade. No, it's.
But yeah, you're going to see these warring clashes of virtue signalers. Like you said, the European types are going to still insist, no, Antifa means anti-fascist, and we're all anti-fascist over here, and free speech is bad because it includes hate speech. And you're going to have the Americans over here going like,
It's because Europeans no longer have rights. I'm sorry, a dude in Sweden got arrested for eating bacon in front of Muslim women. Like, this is this. Europe is fucking done. I wish it wasn't. I love Europe. I love places in Europe. It used to be beautiful, but y'all are fucked.
He was arrested for extreme baconating.
I love how you talk of Europe as though it is a unit, as though it is America's just the U.S. It's not. It's not fucked. It's.
I never said it was. It's the majority fucked, and the majority of the people who aren't a part of the EU are going to get pulled into World War III.
Remind me, who's right next to Sweden?
That's us. We already have a plan for what happens if it collapses, so don't worry.
Jan, do you have a bat lift like a true Cleon warrior?
I have several.
Does your
several
plan
swords.
include setting off a
that's another thing.
Nuclear weapon underneath the mountain range that separates your nations to collapse it on top of Stockholm?
No.
Just remember that.
How the fuck would we manage to do that? Stockholm's on the other side of the fucking country. Americans, you're so fucking ignorant when it comes to European geography. God damn it.
I know exactly where
if it doesn't happen in your country, you have like this weird view.
Okay, Jan, you're in Norway, correct? Jan, you're in Norway, right?
Yep. Yes.
Which is to the west of the mountain range that splits your two countries, and on the opposite side of the mountain range is Stockholm, correct?
Nope. There's flat land between that mountain range and Stockholm.
Yes, yes. And if you set off a big enough nuclear weapon underneath the mountain range and push it all the way over...
Yes, but...
You're thinking too small.
Yeah.
Why would we do that? That would fuck up our own country. We just build a fucking wall.
Charges.
We just build a fucking
it's
wall.
Either nuclear weapons or Islam. You have to choose.
No. Anyways, that is
Stockholm is on the coast. I invade it every time I play Hearts of Iron 4.
You know, I have looked at there's this one beautiful island near Japan on sale. It's just a little bit irradiated. Maybe that's an option.
Yeah.
not for long, considering North Korea is trying to instigate fucking war with Japan.
It's a 1090 shot. Superpowers or cancer.
Yeah.
I'm willing to take that risk.
Yeah, at this point.
That was actually one nice thing. It's like,
oh god, imagine
North Korea fires a shot literally across Japan's bow, and the next day the United States successfully tests an anti-missile weapon. You can't hit a bullet with a bullet? Wrong.
Just picture Artie with a sword and superpowers.
Oh god, no. I'm the last person who should have any kind of super ability.
Super sword nigga.
Oh god, no. I would become the Negro version of Magneto. I swear to fucking
God. My god, I know, I have a brilliant idea. I'm going to write a comic book about a supervillain who can only control people with white guilt.
Oh, fucking do it.
I thought Al Sharpton already read an autobiography.
He'd be the ruler of New York in no time flat.
Oh, man.
Anyways, that...
I'll be here all week, people. Tip your waitresses.
Yeah. Anyways, that would be it for this week of the Unsolicited Opinion Podcast. A little shorter version today, but we will be back next week.
Just wants to go to the Peterson podcast.
Yes. I'm your host, Meerkat Monarch.
You bitching us! You traitor!
And with me, as always, is my co-host, Artivous Ira, and Dr. Evil, and our two guests, Roy and
You are
Shrek.
desperate.
Bye, everybody!
You dick.